Okay, so we're going to open a project. It's a continuation from the previous activity. Activity 321 start. So when I open it, it's going to give me a warning here. Now you might not get this warning. I've deliberately moved my media files away so that After Effects gets confused and doesn't know where they are. So this is something that is going to happen to you at some stage. So that's why I want to show you what you need to do if this happens. So if it doesn't happen and everything opens and connects up, that's fine. But if you ever have a problem where it comes up and says there are missing files, you say okay, and you can see that all the missing files have this kind of little test pattern icon. So there's two things you can do. Either you can move the assets to where they should be and After Effects should automatically connect up, or you can go and connect up to where the assets are now. If you don't know where the assets are, then you pretty much are stuck. But let's say for my movie clip, this film strip clip, I happen to know where that is. I'm going to right click on it and go to Replace Footage, File. And I'm going to make sure that everything is good and open. Okay, so that now should connect up. And it also looks around and says, oh, I can find all the other stuff as well. So it says, okay, I know where I am. So you say, okay, and it's going to connect up to everything. So the only thing offline now is the placeholder, which should be offline because we haven't replaced it yet. So that's connecting up offline media. So when it comes to adding assets to compositions, which is what this video is mostly about, you have quite a few options available to you. So when we imported our media, we automatically created compositions for most of it, which is fine. That's a good habit to get into. But what I want is I want an overall composition that's actually going to accommodate everything that I build for this project. So there's a number of ways I can do it. I can go I can go composition, new composition. I can press Command or Control N. I can also go to this little button down here that says create a new composition, and I can enter my values. Another way is if you have a clip that's going to be the base clip of your composition, like for example this film strip, I can just select it, right click and say new comp from selection. And if I do that, it's going to make a new composition exactly the right size and frame rate for this media, and it will place that media inside there like that. But I'm not going to do that, so I'm going to actually delete this. And what I want to do is create a comp from scratch. So I'm going to click on create a new comp. I'm going to call this master, which will be the kind of overall animation composition. And then I want to set the preset, so I'm going to choose HD TV 1080-25. Be careful not to choose HDV, because HDV is not square pixels, it's more for standard definition. So HD TV 1080-25. I want to make sure that the duration is plenty enough long, so I'm actually going to set it to 1 minute. Oh, that's 10 minutes. Let me go 1 minute, which is way too long, but I can always cut it back. And that's something to remember with After Effects. Better to make your composition too long and then cut it shorter than to make it too short. You can make a composition longer after the fact, but you might then need to go to each layer and extend that layer to the duration, so it's a bit of a pain. And then I'm going to say OK. So now I've got a blank composition, so now we need to place our assets into the composition. So to place, there's a number of things you can do. You can drag directly onto the composition viewer like that, and you'll see that there it is. Okay, I'm just going to undo that, Command or Control Z. You can also just drag it straight down into your layer area and it will go in there. So now if I look at this, it looks too big. And if I just zoom out a little bit here with my scroll wheel, you can see it's way too big for this composition, but it is about the same aspect ratio. So to fit it into here, there's a number of options I can choose. So if I right click on that layer, and go to transform, down at the bottom here there's fit to comp width, and fit to comp height. So if your asset is not the same aspect ratio as your comp, you are going to choose one of these two because you don't want to fit it and then end up distorting it. But in this case it is the same aspect ratio, so I'm just going to say fit to comp, and now it fits in nicely. Okay, so there's my first layer. If I want to now continue to place items, I'm going to go to, so I've got compositions here, and you can absolutely add a composition to a composition. So I'm going to take the clapperboard, and I'm going to drop that above the film strip. Okay, again it's not fitting so well, so right click, transform, fit to comp. Okay, let's add the city reel. I'm going to add that below the clapperboard and above the film strip clip. And again, right click, transform, fit to comp. You can remember those shortcuts if you want to. I don't bother. I use my brain for more important shortcuts. I don't like to remember these long Shift, Command, Alt, H. I mean, who wants to do that? But if you are a shortcut monkey, you can remember those. Alright, so we've got our 3 layers. Let's also add our giraffe. So I'm going to add that right at the top and fit it. Yeah, transform, fit to comp. Okay. Alright, in this case, the giraffe has been distorted because it isn't the same aspect ratio as the composition. So I'm just going to undo that fit option. Right click, transform, fit to comp height. Okay, so now it's fitting to the height without distorting. Okay, I can go in here and rename these layers if I want to. So let's say that I want more than one giraffe, and I want to animate them separately. So I'm just going to select a layer, press Command or Control D. Now I've got 2 giraffes from the same composition. Maybe I want to name them differently. So I'll select the bottom giraffe and I'll say Gladys, and the top giraffe I'll say Bongi. So I've got my 2 giraffes, and notice the way the layers that are named after their actual assets are in square brackets. So that means up at the top here, the top of this column, it says layer name. So it's showing me just the name of the layer. If I click on this, it will toggle between source name and layer name. So if I choose source name, it doesn't show me Gladys and Bongi. It shows me what the asset is named. If I choose layer name, I've got the renamed layer, and the original names are in square brackets for the ones that I haven't renamed. That's quite useful. What if I need to replace a layer? So let's just say with this film strip clip, I actually don't want the original clip to go in here. I'd rather want the film strip comp to go in there. So if you've got any layer, even if you've put animation and effects on it, you can replace that layer with new media, and it will adopt the same settings and animations and effects that that original layer had. So in this case, the way that you do it is you select the layer, then you select the replacement asset, you hold down Alt on Windows, Option on the Mac, and you drag and drop onto that layer, and then you release Option or Alt, and that will replace that layer with the new media. Okay, and you can do that any time. So if you're using a proxy image for something and you get the final image, you can select both, Alt, drag and drop, and it will replace the proxy. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and see you next time.